Okay, hi everyone, I'm here with 621, how do I calculate it? Order of operations. You have probably noticed that the world is full of patterns. Mathematics can be used to describe those patterns. Scientists use math to describe patterns in various aspects of life, including how cells multiply, how objects move through space, and how chemicals react. Often, when scientists try to describe these patterns, they need to describe something that changes, or varies. Scientists use variables and mathematical symbols to write rules relating quantities that are unknown or that change. There are many relationships that can be written with variables and mathematical symbols. You may have seen some of them before. Perhaps one of the most famous ones is Einstein's formula E equals mc squared, which relates energy, mass, and the speed of light. Work with your team to brainstorm some other rules that you have seen before. In the last chapter, you found that the area of a triangle by reasoning this way. Since I know that two of the triangles can make a parallelogram, then the area of the triangle must be half the area of the parallelogram. Therefore, it is half the product of the length of the base and the length of the height. This relationship can also be written as the rule such as A equals 1/2 B times H, where A represents the area of a triangle, B represents the base, and H represents the height of the triangle. In this lesson, you will further explore the idea of a rule as you work with trapezoids. You will learn about the order in which you need to evaluate rules and other expressions. Then you will extend your understanding to apply rules in different contexts. So we're going to start by looking at problem 662. Let me just turn my page here. Okay, 662. An expression represents a mathematical relationship using numbers, variables, and/or symbols. The rules for simplifying expressions are called order of operations. These rules state that operations like addition and multiplication are performed in a specific order when calculating the value of an expression. Review the math notes box for order of operations at the end of this lesson, then complete parts A and B below. So take a look at your math notes section. Okay, it's the very end. Order of operations is at the bottom. Make sure you read over it. Then when you're ready, come back to A. Axel was solving the area of a trapezoid using Tovek's rule. In Axel's trapezoid, H equals 4, A equals 3, and B equals 8. Axel substituted his numbers into the equation that he was using and circled the terms. His work looked like this. You are going to evaluate each circled term in Axel's expression and then add the terms together to get the area of the trapezoid. So go ahead and pause the video and following order of operations, complete part B. If you're back with me, you have done this. So we should do 8 times 4 divided by 2. So 8 times 4 is 32 divided by 2. 32 divided by 2, 16. And we have 4, and there's a plus, divided by 2 times 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2 times 3 is 6. 16 plus 6, so your answer should be 22 units squared for the area. Okay. If we look at (663), it says your teacher will provide your team with a diagram of a trapezoid of the values of A, B, and H labeled on the lesson 621 resource page. Copy Tuvek's rule below on paper. Substitute the measures of the trapezoid your teacher gave you to make this rule. What operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, are used in Tuvek's rule? So pause the video and answer that. You should have said addition, multiplication, and division. B says addition and subtraction separate terms. Therefore, Tuvek's rule has 2 terms. Write the terms below. So go ahead and pause the video and write the 2 terms. If you're back with me, you've answered this. Your terms should be B times H divided by 2 and H divided by 2 times A. Part C says calculate the value of the terms separately and add the results. Remember that multiplication and division are performed in order from left to right. So you are going to go ahead and pick a trapezoid off the lesson 621 resource page, and you are going to do part C. Okay, if you're back with me, you've answered part C. We're going to save that and talk about that in class. 664 says copy Sheila's rule below on your paper. Substitute the measures of a trapezoid your teacher gave you into a rule. A equals 1/2 h times a plus b. What operations are being used in Sheila's rule? If any multiplication is not marked, you may want to add a multiplication symbol, which is just a little dot. So go ahead and pause that and do part A. Okay, so we have multiplication and addition here. Okay, so moving on to B. Is 1/2 h multiplied by A the sum of A and B, or B? How do you know? Go ahead and pause your answer, or pause the video and answer that. If you're back with me, you should have said multiplied. Okay, and your answers will vary, so we could talk about how do you know in class. C. One way to clearly show the quantities within a grouping is to circle the group as shown in the example at right. Find the value of A plus B for your trapezoid. And then the next one says multiply 1/2 by h, then multiply the result of the value by A plus B to find the area of your trapezoid. So whatever trapezoid you used in the previous problem, 663, okay, from over here, 663, you're using that same trapezoid in answering part C. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, if you're back with me, you've answered part C, and we are going to save it. So problem 665. Copy Rajan's rule below on your paper. Substitute the measures of your trapezoid that your teacher gave you into this rule. A equals AH plus the quantity of B minus A times H all over 2. So again, you're going to use your trapezoid that you used for problem 663 and 664. In your rules, circle the terms. So remember, terms are split by subtraction and addition. So go ahead and try your terms. Your terms, hopefully you saw that there were 2. It's AH and the quantity of B minus A times H all over 2 is your second term. And you're going to have numbers where I have variables, but they could be different. In the term B minus A times H over 2, there is a grouping that must be calculated first. What is it? So go ahead and try and figure out the grouping that must be calculated first. If you're back with me, you've done this, and it should be B minus A. Should be your grouping that is done first. Oops. C says to calculate the area of your trapezoid by following the order of operations. Show your calculation step by step, like in the math notes box at the end of this lesson. So part C is going to be the last part last question you do for this lesson. Again, make sure that you use the same trapezoid. Make sure that you have substituted in the numbers and you are simplifying to find the area of this trapezoid. As always, if you have any questions, please email me. Part C is the last thing that you need to do. So when you're done, please make sure you take pictures of your work and upload it.